It's another Wednesday night, which means it's time for another edition of RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group on Rock Sports Network, Western New York's home for motorsports. Marty Scala with you live inside the Slide Job Studios. Kelvin LaPierre back from Bristol Motor Speedway. Did you guys have a good trip, you, Uncle Russ, and Russ's son?
Yeah, it was a good time. Weather was great, 75. I got sunburnt on Friday, and then we went to Michael Waltrip Brewing, had a good time there, and then watched a little bit of short track racing at its finest.
Safe trip back?
Oh, yeah, my trip was nice and easy. Their trip, a little bit longer. They got stuck in a couple of traffic jams. I fortunately did not hit any of that. So.
Welcome to summer on the I-81 or I-86, whatever it's called. But stacked show. Let's get right into it. RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group. They carry 18 different auto manufacturers, ranging from Chevy to Ford to Toyota, and many more in 25 locations throughout the state. Choose from thousands of vehicles in stock and check them out online at bobjohnsonautogroup.com to find a location near you. We are live on the RSN Trackside Facebook page as there is a soccer game happening tonight that Mike Rose is on the call for. That is on the RSN main feed, so we are here this evening. Before we talk about the night race, let's get right into what I did on Saturday night, and that is the Gerald Haers Memorial at Land of Legends Raceway, the 70th anniversary season finale. If you missed it, here's your RSN Trackside recap. Saturday night at Land of Legends Raceway was the 5th annual Gerald Haers Memorial. Jimmy Phelps and Eric Rudolph made up the front row for the 100-lap season finale. Phelps would lead right out of the gate. Let's move to lap 15 as Gary Lindbergh broke on the same lap as well. Justin Haers would pit for a right rear flat tire. On the restart, Rudolph would time the restart well on Phelps and take the lead. This would begin the race's longest green flag run of 60 laps. Just around the halfway mark, Rudy would get slowed up by lap traffic and allow Tim Sears Jr. to close in for the lead, well ahead of Phelps and Alex Payne. It took 13 laps, but Rudolph would make his way past Danny and Alan Johnson. With about 30 to go, Sears Jr. would try again until the yellow flew on lap 74 for a Todd Root spin. While the top two were battling, Justin Haers was making moves. After nearly going a lap down before halfway, he would restart 6th. On the restart, Haers would pass 2 drivers to go to 4th, and then Alex Payne spun off the banking in turn 1. Then the next restart, he passed Phelps and Sears immediately to the delight of the crowd. Haers would have multiple chances to take the lead from Eric Rudolph, even pulling side by side twice for the driver of the 25. Then yellows would fly immediately. At the end, it was the fire starter, Eric Rudolph, who would repeat as the winner of the Gerald Haers Memorial. Justin Haers would finish second.
44 or 45 cars or whatever showed up today, and all real good ones. And I came in, just had a goal to just put ourselves in contention at the end, and I don't know, before halfway even we had the lead, and it kind of made me nervous, because you don't know who's coming and what line's developing faster and whatnot, but we were in lap traffic for a while, and eventually my car kind of petered out a little bit, and we were kind of just there. Couldn't really get by anybody, just struggling, and I think we got saved a little bit by the caution, and were able to regroup and let our tires maybe come in a little bit better, cool down or what have you, maybe. And the last 20, it just seemed like there was caution after caution, and you can look up at the scoreboard and see who's there. All really good cars and really good cars here that run here weekly. So I mean, it was a little stressful, but just maintain my composure and just race smart.
I got the move over flag, and I was catching the cars in front of me that I knew I was racing for position, and I'm like, well, if somebody's this far ahead, which obviously it was, I'm like, his car's got to be really good, because I felt really good. I would have never held him up or blocked or nothing like that. I would have, but if he showed me a nose, I would have let him go by. But we just kept racing, and we kept marching forward and passing cars. I was like, wow, we might have a shot to win this thing. And I looked up, and we were like 6th or 7th on the board, but we haven't hit a yellow in so long. So I was like, what's going to happen? And then then we had 5 yellows the last 20 laps. But I would have loved to have a little bit of a longer green flag run, or I was underneath him that one, or on the outside of him on that one, right when the yellow came out. And he's seen me, and he's drove a little bit different line, but that's what you do when you're leading, man. That's but overall, it was a great night of racing, great weekend, and get ready for Oswego.
Another season in the books at Canandaigua, and another repeat win for Eric Rudolph. But I got to tell you something. I said in the voiceover that the crowd went wild when Justin Harris made a pass for a second. Up in my perch, I was actually hanging out with Nick Guerry and Gerald Haers, who were part of the promoters for this race. And they were hyped up when Justin was making moves on the outside. I could not even believe it, how he went from nearly going one lap down on the long run to restarting with that fresh right rear tire and making his way all the way up to second spot. If we don't see cautions by cautions, I asked him about it, and the sound bites on the Trackside Facebook page. I asked him, did he want to see that race go green to checkered after the yellow for Todd Root? He said absolutely, because that tire was still good and would have had something for Rudolph. I mean, they pulled up both side by side. But congratulations for the top two on that run. And I know a great season is in the books at Land of Legends. I mentioned it on the Trackside Facebook page. It's been a heck of a pleasure to work with them this year. A lot of great memories, a lot more than I've ever had working with the track in the past, from first-time winners to surprise winners to phenomenal races, the photo finishes. Oh, my goodness, this 70th anniversary just had so much this year, and was definitely proud to be a part of it. Kelvin, I know I don't know if you watched a little bit of it. Maybe you saw the highlights on Saturday night from Land of Legends, but another season in the books in Canandaigua, and we don't get to go back there until late April, early May.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch it, obviously. I was at the racetrack at Bristol, but I did keep up with the comments and some stuff that was being said online, how exciting the racing was, how much fun everybody was having. I saw Rudolph won at the end of the night, and then I also saw that Harris was able to get the season championship, I believe. So that was pretty cool. I followed Steve Ovens pretty much all season to keep up with everything going on in Land of Legends. When you were out there covering it, it's a solid season. It's a historic season out there at the Land of Legends. 70 years in the books. I know somewhat what it's taking now with where I'm working now. We're getting ready to turn 100. The planning that goes into making that special, and then for them to have the TV broadcast, the social media broadcast, their team growing, continuing to get better year in and year out. And then the Dirt Vision and Flow Racing deals that they're working on are amazing. It's only going to drive that place even further going forward. So next April, next May, it's going to be another fun season. 71, it's not a big historic year, but it will be. Land of Legends under Paul Cole will be back better than ever in the year 71.
Oh, absolutely. Talking with a lot of the guys after we signed off, after the races ended, I hung out for a couple more minutes once I got done with the top two, talking to guys up in the tower, to the officials that were in the pits, just paying our farewells for the year. And Paul said it was one great year for sure. So let's get to the Bristol night race. Obviously, you were there for it. And Denny Hamlin takes the win. But I think the bigger story in all of this was the fact that the heel on his side trolled all the haters, as the post-race quote everybody was talking about, "I beat your favorite driver." All of them.
Yeah, that was by far the best moment of that week of Saturday night. We'll get into this, I'm sure, a little bit later, but the race itself wasn't by far the best Bristol race of all time. Definitely not. It had its moments where it could have been exciting, but it was a flash in the pan, to say the least. But Denny Hamlin's quote, and then that's just a dagger right in the side, right? Pun intended, because he goes out and gets a dagger, by the way. He beat Kyle Larson. That's who he's referring to. I beat your favorite driver because what happened at Pocono? He got booed because he ran Larson into the wall. Guess what? He went out straight up, flat out, outraced Kyle Larson at Bristol on Saturday night. Kyle Larson got close in lap traffic, but once Denny Hamlin cleared lap traffic, Kyle Larson was a good 3.5 seconds back because he couldn't get through lap traffic like Denny Hamlin could. Overall, racing was good. Joey Logano, unfortunate situation, gets caught up in something of not his own doing, ends his streak into the round of 12. Martin Truex Jr., as I was surprised. I'm not surprised because I said he was going to get in. He wasn't going to win, but he was going to get in on points. That was a shocker. The real ultimate shocker of the weekend, though, Kevin Harvick in that 14. They struggled from practice to qualifying to the entire race. I believe he ended up 6 laps down. There was 0 speed in that car. It would just seem like they couldn't get anything right.
Harvick just wanted to get out of Bristol Motor Speedway when he opted out of his car. He did not want to talk to the media one bit. Had very few words for all the media reporters that I heard post-race on Sirius XM. And I know it's his final year in NASCAR, but probably just wants this year to end. It's just been a frustrating season for the Ford team where they just have not been able to get a win. So I want to touch back on Denny Hamlin as well, because I know there are some people in the media that are saying, with this win, he's the championship favorite. I am not buying that one bit, and knowing you as well, you're probably not buying it either, because what happens come with the championship 4? He does not finish races. He always finds a way to blow them, and nothing against Denny Hamlin because he's a great driver, much hilarious driver as well on social media. But I think we're just speaking the truth. He has just not been able to, when he's racing for a championship or has a chance to make the championship 4 like last year, something always happens where he just cannot get to the top. And I know people think that this is his year. We say that every single year. I know I sound like I'm a member of Bill's Mafia, but again, that is the truth.
Yeah. I will say he's the hottest driver in the sport right now based off the first round because I believe he went second, first in the first round. I believe that's his first round stats for the first 3 races of playoffs. That makes him a favorite for the championship 4. Does that make him a favorite to go out and win the whole damn thing? Not in my eyes. We've seen this story before. You just mentioned it. We get to Miami. He runs well at the start. After the sun sets, he can't run. Get to Phoenix. He qualifies well, runs well stage 1, ends up shooting himself in the foot, or his pit crew shoots themselves, gets him back into deep traffic. He can't go anywhere. I'm not ready to say that until we see a good first 2 stages at Phoenix to say, hey, he's got a legit shot. I think he's going to get there. I think I had him in my championship 4 at the beginning of the year, but I don't think he was my winner. I have Kyle Busch still winning the whole damn thing.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there. I forgot to ask too about Denny Hamlin. What do you think about this villain/heel role? I personally like it because with Kyle Busch now on the number 8 side, I don't think that there was a villain. Enter Denny Hamlin now with the stuff that happened at Pocono, with the podcast he has. I feel like he's like that Roman Reigns, just without all the championships.
Everybody wants a villain.
Yes.
Every sport / whatever needs a villain.
Absolutely.
There's always a hero. There's always a villain. This year's hero will be if somebody beats Denny for the championship. The villain role becomes even bigger if Denny goes out and wins the championship. And guess what? More eyes are going to get drawn to NASCAR if Denny Hamlin wins the championship because they have a villain. Kyle Busch joining Chevy, they lost the villain. Granted, some people still boo him. Go to the racetrack, the boos are not nearly as loud or as prolonged as they used to be when he was driving a Toyota. They are probably 50-50 now compared to 75-25. Yeah. And I think next year they'll be even greater for Kyle Busch because Kyle Busch is actually mellowed out. this year compared to years past.
Exactly. Joey Logano, I think you mentioned it briefly. This was my shocker here, that because this was actually one of the drivers that I personally had in the championship for, which would have been an upset by many in the championship for. But Joey Logano wrecks out incident where he pretty much had nowhere to go. Corey LaJoie spun early, and Logano just got involved in it. The damage to the left rear wheel, severe enough to end his chances of a championship. So the defending champion will not be in the championship for. Yeah, that was pretty shocking, to say the least.
Yeah, and I believe he only finished 4 points out. So all it would have taken is there's like a group of 3 drivers that could have ended up out of that race or a few more laps down and lost a few spots, and he would have been in. But it's as Joey said when he got out of the infield care center. They haven't had speed since the first 3 weeks of the year. They have struggled to find it. The entire Ford camp seemingly has not had anything outside the last 8 weeks. RFK is probably the only 2 Fords who have had any speed whatsoever. And they're striking at the right time, as evident by Chris Buescher, I believe, had another 4th place finish at Bristol, and Brad Keselowski was running well and then faded late. But I'm shocked that Joey didn't make it through, but Joey's not. So I guess we shouldn't be as shocked as Joey.
But then you get to the guy that advanced, I think, is my opinion, is one of the best upsets that we have seen to the round of 12 in a while. Bubba Wallace is in the round of 12. Silence the haters, including the one that was in the stands trying to rag on him. That was pretty cool. Very few people, under 25%, had Bubba Wallace in the round of 12. I can guarantee you that. And to see him in that round of 12, especially when in the round of 12 that we go into Talladega, I think this just hypes up Bubba Wallace a little bit more inside of him, and I think that helps him give him a lot more confidence, I should say, not hype him up. Give him a lot more confidence where he can try and race his way into the round of 8. If he doesn't win Talladega, I think that he could have a really good finish, Joe, like a top 10 finish. But he really needs to race. He needs to have perfect races if he wants to get into that round of 8, like consistent top 5 or top 10 finishes.
He has to have what he did in the first round.
Exactly.
He has to finish. If he finishes in the top 15 in the first 2 races, he's probably going to be pretty good going into the cutoff race. And then again, you have to run consistent. That's how you win championship. Consistency will win you a NASCAR championship now. Yes. One bad race, the later you get into this, you're in trouble. If that race is the first race of the second round, you're probably on the outside looking in because everything's shrunk down, especially with Martin Truex Jr. not having that big lead anymore. Everybody is going to be so tight because of how many points he lost after a terrible first round for him. So Bubba Wallace has got to do the same thing. He's got to be consistent. Top 10, top 5. Let's go out there, run consistent. And he has to use his head and say, hey, I'm not going to win, but let me not push it for a win when I know I only have a top 5 car. Run the top 5. Don't risk it to try and get a win. Take the points when you can get them.
Absolutely. And speaking of Martin Truex Jr., he's now even with the top 20 finish. He's in the round of 12. But from here on, at this point now, for Martin Truex Jr., no more mistakes. You have to finish these next 7 races if you want a chance at the championship. If you have one DNF, chances are you're done. He had his 3 mulligans. He had the mulligan to begin the playoffs. He had the mulligan at Kansas, and now the mulligan at Bristol. Does not have any more, because if he has just one DNF, that'll put him below that cut line and could put him in a deep hole where he would probably have to win to make it in the next round.
Yeah, and it's not that Martin's not capable of going out and winning at any of these next 3 tracks and securing his spot in the round of 8. But Talladega is not his friend. he doesn't run well there. His teammate Denny Hamlin and Christopher Bell, Bubba Wallace, and Tyler Reddick certainly run well at restrictor plate tracks. He likes to hang out in the back and hope that he doesn't get caught up in something. And then lo and behold, he gets caught up in something. So I think you're looking at Texas is probably his best shot to win in advance. I don't know if he's going to be able to do it at Talladega.
Yeah, we'll just have to see what happens there. As we mentioned, Denny Hamlin took the win, led 142 laps. Kyle Larson second, Christopher Bell third. He led the most laps at 187. Chris Buescher fourth. Ty Gibbs a great race, led 102 laps. Michael McDowell sixth, Chase Elliott seventh, Brad Keselowski eighth, William Byron ninth, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 10th. One guy we got to mention that was not in that top 10, the guy that finished 11th, Carson Hocevar, finished 5th in stage number 2. This guy is ready for the Cup Series, just my opinion. He has adapted so well to the Cup Series car. He's now in the next 2 races at Texas and Talladega. I feel like this kid in car number 42 is ready to go. Move him up from truck 42 to Cup 42. Well, obviously not Cup 42, but probably Aspire Motorsports ride. I would guess that's where he would go. But I feel like that he is ready to go for Cup Series competition next season. The other races, the other 2 NASCAR races. Xfinity Series, Justin Allgaier took the win, advanced to the round of 8. But the main story in all this, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in his one-off this race this season, led 47 laps. His day ended, unfortunately, with an electrical fire inside the cockpit. Burned one of his legs in the fire suit. Not his actual leg, but burned a pant leg in the fire suit. He's okay. But I feel like Junior was the story. And I feel like that Junior had a race-winning car tonight.
Yeah, he definitely did. I was texting you guys because I knew you guys were at the Land of Legends. I was like, hey, just to let you know, my pick to win the race is now leading the 40th lap of the race. For his 40th lap. 7, then he ended up leading 47. I have his radio on. They're in there telling him to flip all these fan switches, blah, blah, blah. He's flipping these switches. Then all of a sudden I hear, guys are smoking the cockpit. I smell smoke in the cockpit. 5, 6, 7 laps later, it goes, boys, I'm on fire. Got to pit. I'm hitting the pits. And they're like, all right, bring it down. And he just gets out the car. And I'm like, oh, man, there goes my pick. But it was great to see that the crowd went crazy when he took the lead, went crazy when he was leading. It was a good time. It was like a reminder of the good old days when Dale Jr. was out there running and winning races.
I had my Junior shirt on Friday night at the hotel in Pittsburgh after Yankees Pirates. And then in the Truck Series, Corey Heim makes a 6-lap-to-go pass on Christian Eckes. Heim time in the championship for, Eckes had the best truck. Got to admit that. Eckes was very good. Unfortunately, lap traffic, I feel like, slowed him up just a bit. But Corey Heim makes the pass, first driver in the championship for. I think just with the season that Corey Heim has had, without question, Heim is the favorite to win this championship. And he doesn't have to worry about Talladega, and he doesn't have to worry about Homestead, Miami.
Yeah, he's set, right? Like, he's good to go. So that's good for him. Got to be the favorite. Gets the next 2 weeks off to relax and set himself up for that championship 4 run.
Absolutely. Let's step aside and take a break. When we come back, good, bad, and ugly power rankings and a heavy, heavy news week. Probably the most stories that I've ever put down on my rundown for headlines on RSN Trackside episodes. So stay with us. We're in turns 1 and 2. We're coming back in just a moment.
Smooth sculpted lines, impressive hardware, aggressive stance. It can only mean one thing. 'Tis the season to get out and tailgate. Right now at every Bob Johnson, buy any new or used truck, we'll throw in a Mafia-ready folding table absolutely free. Bob Johnson, this is where the savings are.
Bob Johnson.
If you're living with pain or recovering from surgery and don't know where to start, Lattimore Physical Therapy can help. The Lattimore Promise includes an individual diagnosis with a highly trained licensed physical therapist on your first visit, a personalized treatment plan, communication with your doctor, and a continued personal care plan. You're never more than minutes away from pain relief. Visit LattimorePT.com.
Lattimore Physical therapy.
We start with fresh, never frozen ground beef, follow it with our homemade meat hot sauce, and finish it with your choice of toppings, always made to order. Our world's greatest cheeseburgers will make you say,
Gimme, 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 feel great.
Super Dirt Week, racing's biggest party, is bigger than ever this October at Oswego Speedway. Racing, music, camping, and more. See your dirt car racing heroes battle wheel to wheel for a chance at glory. Then party away the night with live music and entertainment. Get your tickets now at superdirtweek.com or call 844-DIRT-TICKS. Be there.
Hi, my name is Henry, and I want to welcome you to Batavia Downs Gaming. We want you to love it, not just like it here. We went to our customers and asked them what we can do better. You said you wanted a hotel, so we built one. More and better food, we did that too. A separate place to smoke and play, we even did that. Batavia Downs Gaming and Hotel is the right size with the right people in the right location. Batavia Downs Gaming. Come here to dine, stay, and play.
Welcome back to RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group. Tune into the Bob Johnson College Football Game of the Week on Saturday at noon as the Brockport Golden Eagles take on the Lycoming College Warriors. Again, kickoff at noon on your home for college football. That is Rock Sports Network. Ryan Lasall and Mario Granato will be on the call for that one. Big win for Brockport last week over Wilkes, a much-needed bounce-back win to go to 2-1 on the year. They are also technically 3-0 on the season when it comes to Empire 8 Special Teams Player of the Week award. So there you go. Brockport got that for the third straight week after a blocked field goal once again on special teams. All right, time for the good, bad, ugly of the weekend. Kelvin, you get to go first on that. What's your good, bad, ugly?
Oh, my good. I'm going to give it to Carson Hocevar. 11th place finish, by far the strongest run I think that 42 car has seen all season. And I believe both of the strongest runs with anybody in that car have been with Carson Hocevar at the wheel. So I want to give him a shout out for that. Like, he ran well in the 77 until he hit the wall. He's run well in the 77 again, and now he's taken the 42 to 2 top 15 place finishes, I do believe, which is really good for him, like, proving that he's cup ready, just like Zane Smith. My bad. Gotta go to Joey Logano. Like, I would say Ford overall. Like, they have zero speed. Penske hasn't shown much speed at all. Joey Logano misses the round of 12 to no fault of his own, caught up in a wreck that wasn't his doing. But it just goes to show, like, you got to be consistent speed-wise. They weren't consistent the first 2 weeks. We're running in the middle of the pack when this incident happened at Bristol. And then the ugly, I think everybody's going to go here for the ugly, and that's Kevin Harvick in the 4 squad not showing up and not knowing how to fix their race car for Bristol when they ran second there last year in the same style car. So it's kind of disappointing.
All right, my good on the weekend. I have 2 goods. I'm sorry, I have to go with 2 goods. I do have a bad and an ugly. First good, Dale Jr. Great run he had at Bristol Motor Speedway. I hope he runs at Bristol every year, because if so, he has a chance at a win every year at Bristol Motor Speedway. My second good, Bubba Wallace. Of course, having Michael Jordan there always gives you a lot of motivation and tries to give you a lot of confidence to try and win, especially with MJ in your pit box. And for Bubba just to make the round of 12, that race had to feel like a win for Bubba. So Bubba's one of my 2 goods this weekend. The bad, I'm going to agree with you, Joey Logano not making it into the round of 12. I know it was a nowhere to go situation, but the Bristol Night Race can eat people up, and ate Joey Logano up this weekend. My ugly, I'm not going to go with Kevin Harvick, but it was in a situation with Kevin Harvick. This is a pretty funny ugly, and this came up a little bit on Twitter. I want to address this just for the fun of it, just for fun.
Oh boy, Twitter.
My ugly is Ryan Blaney and Bob Pockris. Now again, this
funny.
post courtesy of Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. I'm going to show it right here. Claire B. Lang's interviewing Kevin Harvick. Bob's going to show up in the background right here. Boom! Look at that. That's Ryan Blaney right there.
Throwing a little shade at him.
Yeah. I was like, get out of here. I'm like, Ryan, how do you do that to Bob, of all people? Bob,
Oh, I thought
Bob's
pretty
got a
funny.
chin though. Bob's got a chin though. He stayed in that interview pack, but apparently the two apologized to each other, and it was all good. I just had to use that as my ugly. It was pretty funny. So, alrighty, are you ready for some power rankings?
I am, my man. Are you
I
ready?
am ready. Power Rankings brought to you by Lattimore Physical Therapy of North Chila, an outpatient physical therapy clinic treating a variety of health conditions and restoring optimal health, providing personal, individualized care. Give them a call at 585-594-1688 or visit their location at 3237 Union Street next to the post office. Not there, visit any of their other 27 locations in the area, including the new Brockport location in the Wegmans Plaza. All right. Back in my power rankings this week at number 10, Bubba Wallace, 14th place finish, making it to the round of 12 as a 16 seed. Well done, Bubba. Number 9, Martin Truex Jr., survived by finishing 19th to barely make the next round. He's now back tied for the top spot, but as I said, can't have any mistakes. Tyler Reddick's number 8, a quiet day to finish in the 15th spot. Now 8th in the standings, but luckily he goes into Texas as the defending winner this weekend. Up to number 7, yes, non-playoff driver, but but in the owners' playoffs technically. Chase Elliott. He's got 4 straight top 10s with that 7th place finish he had on Saturday night. So Chase goes to number 7. William Byron drops down to number 6. A 9th place finish at Bristol. Was quiet throughout the playoffs, but he is still tied for that top seed as we enter the round of 12. Number 5, Brad Keselowski. 8th place finish at Bristol, but he's going to need to accumulate some playoff points throughout this round of 12 as he's below the cut line entering that. And if he makes it above the cut line after the Charlotte Roval. Number 4, Christopher Bell. Won the front 2 stages, led 187 laps, but he finished 3rd. Valuable playoff points that C-Bell got as we head into the round of 12. Chris Buescher is my number 3. 4th at Bristol, reached the round of 12 for the first time ever. Number 2, Kyle Larson. Started last, led 20 laps, 2 top 10s in his last 2 starts. And then my new number 1, I'm sorry, Kelvin, but I have to do it. James Dennis Allen Hamlin led 142 laps, lapped most of the field. The 3C, 21 points above the cut line. I call him the heel without the titles. So,
Not bad. Not bad. We disagree on Chase Elliott still being in there because he shouldn't be. Because, like I said, now that we're in championship hunting mode, this is a playoff power ranking top 10. There's no more. Oh, he's running for 16th place in the book. He's running for 17th highest he can get in the points. Don't care. He could do what he wants. He's not one of the top 10 drivers of the year. He doesn't deserve to be there. That's Chase Elliott, not in my top 10. So you get a B- just off of that. So here we go. Martin Truex Jr. is my number 10. Came in with the most points available, wins the regular season championship. 2 mulligans, not the best run in Bristol, but better than he had been lately, so I gave him credit. He found his way in. He scraped his way in thanks to the unfortunate mistakes of Joey Logano, which wasn't really a mistake. It was got caught up in a wreck, and the mistakes of Kevin Harvick not having a car capable of doing anything at Bristol Motor Speedway. If Kevin Harvick had a car that could do something, he would not be in that. But he would not be in the round of 12. So he's my number 10. Number 9, probably the strongest runs he's had in 3 consecutive weeks in the playoffs because it's the first time he's ever been there, Bubba Wallace. Number 8, this is going to surprise you because I've not been high on this guy all year, but we didn't talk much about him. He ran consistent, was running well at Bristol for the most part. Ross Chastain. We have not said anything. Last year, he makes it to the round of the championship 4. Quietly has a solid first round here again. We're going to tracks that he's been able to run well at in the past. He's won at Talladega. That's in this round. I fully expect him to run well. Number 7, you have this driver there. I think you have him here. Maybe not. I can't remember. I have Christopher Bell at 7. 1 decent stage points in the first round. Moves on. Well inside the top 12, if I'm not mistaken, right now. Number 6. I think you have him at 5. I have him at 6. Brad Keselowski. Decent run, decent first round, but again, finds himself on the outside looking in. But he did that going into this last round. I think he can get his way out and get into the round of 8 going forward. Number 5, really dominant regular season, won 4 or 5 races. William Byron, what have you done for me lately? Not much. Decent run at Bristol. Advances on solidly in the round of 8 right now. Number 4, Brad Keselowski's teammate Chris Buescher, 3 wins on the year. Another strong top 5 run at Bristol, going to a track in Texas where he's run well. And Ford seems to run really well here, going to Talladega where we know they run really well on restrictor plates. Another round that fits right into his style. Now we get to the top 3. And yes, they are all winners in the previous round, by the way. Tyler Reddick is my number 3. Not the greatest of first rounds, but hey, went out, dominated a race, got a win, locked himself into the round of 12, got him the extra bonus points, looking like he could be. Toyotas are looking really good right now. Number 2, Kyle Larson probably had the second best first 3 races we saw all year so far in the playoffs, going back to last year as well. Not much you can say. Went from dead last to second at Bristol. Cannot complain about that. Got points in the stages. Did what he needed to do. Advanced. Got a win also. And that leads me to number 1. I don't know why you said yes, Kelvin. I went there because guess what, Marty? I went there too. Denny Hamlin is number 1 in the power rankings after, I believe, second, first in the first 3 races.
All right. I'll give you a B for that, too. Nice power rankings, so. Alrighty, let's get to the headlines here. And how many stories do I have here? I've got, I think, just about 10, 12 stories here. So, Trackhouse, first off, they had one heck of a week. Let's begin with what happened after we signed off last Wednesday. This came out Wednesday night, or afternoon Australia time. But Trackhouse signed Shane Van Gisbergen to a development deal. The notorious SVG will be running select races throughout Cup, Xfinity, Truck Series, even some late model races, just to help him get acclimated to ovals throughout the year next season, and obviously road courses Shane Van Gisbergen will be a part of. Justin Marks will control his schedule and what races he can run. I love it. I think this is a deal that we saw coming, SVG to Trackhouse. I love this deal, though, not to put him full-time immediately yet. Because if you remember when, like, you had Ganassi and Penske bring some of the IndyCar guys over to NASCAR, like, Sam Hortus Jr., Dario Franchitti, or Danica Patrick coming over to NASCAR, they wanted to run ovals instantly. And they did not run well on a full-time schedule. I mean, it took, I think Danica ran, it took 2 years for her to go full-time in Xfinity race, and she still wasn't really the best of the time. So, I like the deal here. This is a great deal for Shane Van Gisbergen with the schedule. If you want to hear my take, just scroll down the Trackside page. We should have it up there a couple of posts after Land of Legends.
Yeah, it's a huge deal. We all saw it coming, though, and he'll be able to run select races. I'm sure he'll be in that Trackhouse Project 91 car with the deal that I'm sure we're going to talk about shortly. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's the right move, but with how many road courses we have, I think that he could go in and contend to be a playoff driver just based off the road courses we have right now. But the ovals is where you got to figure out if he can do it, and I think getting him the Xfinity experience is going to help out with that and let us really judge where he could be down the road.
Absolutely. And then Saturday night, or Saturday before the Cup race, Trackhouse revealed that they signed Zane Smith to a Cup Series contract next season. So the deal is for Trackhouse is that Zane Smith will race a third Spire Motorsports car that is affiliated with Trackhouse. And Spire does have a charter for that third car, as it was revealed that they bought the charter from Live Fast. We heard some sources developing on that. The Athletic said that it was a developing story, and now it's true. Zane Smith to Trackhouse, and this was actually in the press conference. First off, he looked like a kid on Christmas. How much he was smiling in that press conference. He looked like a kid on Christmas. It was so cool. But Zane Smith said that if there was a team I wanted to race for in the Cup Series, it was Trackhouse with what they were doing, and what Justin Marks and Pitbull were doing. I think this is a great deal for Zane Smith. I am interested though in this third Spire Motorsports car, because is this car gonna be out of the Spire Motorsports shop, or will this Spire Motorsports car be in a Trackhouse shop where Trackhouse crew members will be working on it, just listed as a car that's owned by Spire? That's what I'm wondering.
So, from what we got at Bristol, it sounds like Spire Motorsports owns the charter.
Yes.
They're going to lease that charter to Trackhouse, which is what Zane Smith will run. So, we've seen this before. They're leasing the charter, it'll be controlled by Trackhouse. Spire owns the charter, it's just leased to Justin Marks and his crew over at Trackhouse. So, it will probably be in the Trackhouse camp. But those two camps are also forming an alliance, which I believe they already have with RCR anyway. So they're just conforming a bigger alliance essentially with this deal.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think personally it's going to run that car will be built and assembled and worked on at Trackhouse Racing, and will have nothing to do with the Spire camp since they're releasing the charter from them.
So that was the shocker of the weekend. Colleagues said this was the shocker of the weekend. A lot of fans were not surprised by this. I personally was not surprised by this, but they revealed on Friday afternoon Daniel Hemrick will move back up to the Cup Series to take over the 31 that is being driven by Justin Haley. Obviously, we know Haley is racing for Rick Ware Racing next season, but Hemrick gets another chance in the Cup Series. We'll see how this one plans out. Ever since Daniel Hemrick scored his lone Xfinity Series win, which was in the championship race at Phoenix, hasn't won any races since the switch over to Colleague Racing. So I'm interested in seeing how this is gonna work out. They decided not to go with anyone that is looking for a ride, any free agents like a Noah Gragson or like a Matt DiBenedetto. It's Daniel Hemrick. So that makes that open ride for the number 11 car for the Xfinity Series a little bit more interesting.
Just a little bit, but I also think that so I had the chance to talk to Chris Rice later that night. He was at the Tim Duggar concert. We talked briefly, about 5-10 minutes, chit-chatted, talked to him about the Hemrick deal, and he said the kid's earned it. He's got a championship under his belt. He's run solid for us. He has great partners. We love their partners, i.e., there's that partner word again, right? He's got sponsorship money coming in. We're still at that point with this next gen car where they need the sponsorship to run, and he brings that. But he also said Hemrick has earned this. He's run well for us. He works well with all of our other partners that we have. He works well. He's a great team player. So I'm not surprised. I don't think anybody was shocked that this was the deal that was done. And hopefully he can turn the 31 car around, because I think honestly AJ Allmendinger's run slightly better than the 31 car, and this is AJ's first year in the car.
Someone also in the media center did ask about what the deal was with the number 16 as well next season. Chris Rice and Matt Collick declined to comment on that, saying that they wanted to talk about the 31 car only. So we talked about this a couple weeks ago, that Matt DiBenedetto would not be returning to Rackley War Racing next year in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. But earlier this week, we had another bombshell that Matt DiBenedetto would not be racing the final 3 races in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. DiBenedetto is out of a ride and is trying to work something out for next season. This is a surprise to me, Kelvin. I don't understand why Rackley War made this decision. If there was another situation where somebody else had sponsorship, I could understand that. But the next race for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series is Talladega. Who was the last guy to win at Talladega on a truck? Matt DiBenedetto, Rackley War's first win. I don't know why they went this long, but that is just demoralizing a driver. Just my opinion. I feel like Rackley just demoralized the driver and just slid its heart out.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, like, especially when it seemed like their relationship for both parties was really strong. I think when Matty D announced himself that he was not going to be returning to the 25 truck next year and that he would let us know what his 2024 future plans were at a later date, it kind of started souring things. And then when they missed the round of 8 or whatever it is in the truck series, I think it made tensions even worse because Matt felt that the first 2 weeks of that they weren't running well. He went out, ran 10th at Bristol, and then 2 days later you find out that he's not going to be there at all the rest of the year. Kind of disappointing. And I think if you're Matt, you got to really put your head to, where do I want to run in 2024? Do I want to go back and run in the truck series? Is there an Xfinity ride that's opened up that I can go compete and win in? Or do I go out and do something else for a few years and see if I can get back in the sport? But we all know how that works out. If your name's not in the sport for a while, you typically don't find your way back.
Absolutely. So, let's talk about some other news here on the NASCAR side of things specifically. Learned the first piece, one of the first pieces of the 2024 schedule. Did not come out last week, so it should come out in a couple weeks now, probably 2 weeks we would expect. But was revealed that the Clash to kick off the year will return to 2024 at the LA Coliseum. Third year NASCAR has done this in Los Angeles, and it has always turned out to be a great success all around, whether it be grandstands, TV side of things. And so this one will be February 4th. I think I have that date correct, right? It's the first Sunday in February. I know that at least for sure. So, and should be a great race once again.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good time. Always is a good time out in LA. Hopefully they sell just as many tickets, if not more, than this last year. And then I think this could be the last year of it though, because it is starting to be like, hey, we got to spend all this money. Let's go to a track where we don't have to do this. But until I think they figure out something Fontana, California outside of Sonoma, what do they do? I think this is their best effort to do it.
Yeah, that is the big, that's the bump in the road. California. That's the schedule surrounds around Auto Club Speedway, or Next Gen California is how it's being called, and what's going to happen to that next season. So let's go to the local side of things. We didn't talk about this race a whole lot on Saturday night because we had Gerald Haers Memorial, but the Big Fonda 200 for the Short Track Super Series. Stuart Friesen took the win, $53K to win show, was able to cash out $57,000 with some additional money, was able to hold off Matt Shepard in the final few laps. Friesen calls Fonda his home track, and he calls it, in his opinion, yes, it pays more than Super Dirt Week. He considers it the second biggest dirt modified race in the calendar, with Super Dirt Week being number one. Big win for Stuart Friesen. I can't remember how many wins this is for him on the dirt modified side of things this year, but again, huge win for Stewie and that 44 team.
Huge win. Saw his celebratory photo at the end of it. He looked like he was enjoying himself with his crew and some friends. It just seems like it's a year we didn't hear much from Stuart, right? Like, I don't remember seeing very many posts with him as a winner, right? Good for Stuart, though. Really happy for him.
Yeah, a guy that's been really focused on the truck this season. Also in that Fonda 200, there was a big wreck. Rocky Warner was one of the drivers involved and was taken to a hospital for further evaluation. And we're definitely wishing the Flying Squirrel a full recovery. This is an interesting story as well that I read this morning on Ariato Racing News. Our friend Larry Ott wrote this story. Did an interview with Andy Jankowiak at the Race of Champions 250 this past weekend. And Andy J said in a story that he is trying to plan to run full-time in ARCA next season. I think he's trying to work some sponsorship out. But that'd be huge. And I think that's what the KLAS team has been looking into for a few months now. And, you and I obviously know Andy J has a lot of talent in this ARCA racing ride. We've learned it since he made the debut at Daytona in 2021. I feel like you take out the Venerini Motorsport conglomerate. you take out Joe Gibbs Racing, you take out Rev Racing. Andy J is probably the best ARCA driver out there outside of those two teams. And I feel like if he goes full-time next year and they can work out the short track side of things, their intermediate super speedways worked well. But if you improve the short track side of things, I bet you Andy J gets not just the top 5, but I bet you he wins a race next season.
Could win a race, and he could be dang well hunting for a championship, right? Like, consistency is what wins, and Andy J has been everything besides one race at Bristol consistent. And that was last year when he caught fire. So.
Yes, absolutely. Brady's watching. Thanks for tuning in, Matt. He had I gave him a shout out last week on the air. He had one heck of a weekend at the Fonda 200 and a lot of great interviews. I watched a bunch of them this past weekend with Matt Shepard, student Jessica Friesen, Matt Williamson on Out of the Fast Lane. It was definitely cool to watch there. And also, let's see here. One more story. In the Rock 250, should mention this too. Patrick Emmerling took the win in that one. Held off both Matt Hirschman and Andy J to win one of the biggest races in asphalt modified races. So congrats to him on that. This weekend, Super Dirt Car Series runs at Albany Saratoga Speedway from Alta Massive for weekend. Friday night 358. Saturday night the big block race, 115 laps, a spot in Super Dirt Week up for grabs. Final Super Dirt Week qualifier before the big week in Oswego, just about 2 weeks from Sunday, and I can't wait to provide coverage on that. One more story we should talk about, but do want to mention first. Coming on up after the break, we will preview Texas Motor Speedway. But we do want to mention the sad news that we got on Monday as we learned the passing of Sherry Pollux, who was a big, how do I put this into words? I can't, big philanthropist after, since her diagnosis of ovarian cancer in 2014. NASCAR's Catwalk for a Cause happened this past weekend before the races at Bristol. Sherry was not in attendance, but received a standing ovation that lasted just about a minute or two. And it was very sad to hear about her death and hear all the lives that she impacted. Thousands of lives of men or women that were also going through cancer, and cancer sucks. We all know that. And very sad to see Sherry taken away from the world. Our thoughts and prayers with the Pollux friends and family, as well as Martin Truex Jr. Sherry Pollux passed away at the age of 44. RSN Trackside continues in just a moment.
Hi, my name is Henry, and I want to welcome you to Batavia Downs Gaming. We want you to love it. Not just like it here. We went to our customers and asked them what we can do better. You said you wanted a hotel, so we built one. More and better food. We did that too. A separate place to smoke and play? We even did that. Batavia Downs Gaming and Hotel is the right size with the right people in the right location. Batavia Downs Gaming. Come here to dine, stay, and play.
Super Dirt Week, racing's biggest party, is bigger than ever this October at Oswego Speedway. Racing, music, camping, and more. See your dirt car racing heroes battle wheel to wheel for a chance at glory. Then party away the night with live music and entertainment. Get your tickets now at superdirtweek.com or call 844-DIRT-TICKS. Be there.
We start with fresh, never frozen ground beef, follow it with our homemade meat hot sauce, and finish it with your choice of toppings, always made to order. Our world's greatest cheeseburgers will make you say,
Gimme, 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 feel great.
If you're living with pain or recovering from surgery and don't know where to start, Lattimore Physical Therapy can help. The Lattimore Promise includes an individual diagnosis with a highly trained licensed physical therapist on your first visit, a personalized treatment plan, communication with your doctor, and a continued personal care plan. You're never more than minutes away from pain relief. Visit LattimorePT.com.
Lattimore Physical Therapy.
Smooth sculpted lines, impressive hardware, aggressive stance. It can only mean one thing. 'Tis the season to get out and tailgate. Right now at every Bob Johnson, buy any new or used truck, we'll throw in a Mafia-ready folding table absolutely free. Bob Johnson, this is where the savings are.
Bob Johnson.
Welcome back to RSN Trackside, powered by Bob Johnson Auto Group. RSN Trackside brought to you by Bill Gray's, home of the world's greatest cheeseburger since 1938. Every Wednesday, $2 off kids' meals featuring burgers, Weigel's Hots, and more. Also at select locations, you can watch the race and grab some food and a drink at a Bill Gray's tap room. Find a location near you at BillGrays.com. Gimme, 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 Bill Gray's. You saw the ad as well, but just 2 weeks from Sunday is the big Billy Whitaker Cars 200 at Oswego Speedway, and Super Dirt Week beginning just about 13 days from now, October 2nd through the 8th. Racing's biggest party in New York, the 51st annual race. 51K to win 200-lap race for the Super Dirt Car Series, also 150-lap 358 modified, 75-lap sportsman, 50-lap pro stock race. To buy your tickets, go to superdirtweek.com or call 844-DIRT-TIX. That's TIX. So, all right, let's preview the weekend here to begin the round of 12 at Texas Motor Speedway. Obviously, when we think of Texas Motor Speedway, that's always an interesting track, always a unique race because they always spray the PJ1 on the bottom. Got to figure out which groove's working well. Is the low side activated? If not, is the high side the place to be? So we'll just have to see what happens. Obviously, the races are always crazy because just one spin, if your car gets loose just once, you're likely done for the race, and we could see that once again. And we learned that definitely last fall.
Yeah, we also have seen this at Kansas, right? Like they get to Kansas and cars are spinning out in practice and qualifying, i.e. Kyle Busch. So this is Texas. We're going to a place you can't afford to lose it because if you lose it, you're in the wall. You're probably out for the race. And so you can't have that. And especially when the circumstances are so thin as it is, where you don't have the margins like you did a couple years ago or last year because your regular season points champion is now down there in the bottom of the pack with everybody else. It tightens that field that much more.
Last 3 Texas winners are still in the playoffs. That's, of course, Kyle Busch, Kyle Larson, and Tyler Reddick. Let's talk about the playoffs and how they cycled through or how they reset with the round of 12 and where they are on the cut line. So, Tyler Reddick, the final guy above the cut line, up 3. Christopher Bell 7th, up 5. Kyle Busch is 6th. He is up 8. Chris Buescher up 10. Kyle Larson up 12. First 4 out. Ross Chastain and Brad Keselowski each 3 points below the cut line. Ryan Blaney 11th, 6 points below the cut line. And Bubba Wallace is 12th, 14 points below the cut line. Is this obviously this is a wild card round because you've got Talladega where anyone can win and Charlotte Roval where we can see the craziest amongst craziness with a road course race in the playoffs. How do you want? Is this where you want to finish up front, Kelvin, to possibly set yourself with some good pace and some good momentum at Texas to avoid having to be in a wreck at Talladega or Roval, which could put you below the cut line?
Yeah, the Texas is by far the track you really want to have set your round of 12 up for. If you go in there, you go to Texas, you have a bad bad first round in this round of 12. If you're not comfortably 30, 40 points up right now, you're going to be on the outside looking in unless somebody else has a bad day too. But then because you go to Talladega, as you said, Talladega, anybody could win that. You could throw a paper bag and throw 40 drivers' names in there. 6 of them won't be running, but they still have a shot to win. And you're going to the Roval. I don't trust turn 1 and somebody not sending me into the wall in turn 1 any day of the week on a restart. And we know we're getting at least 3 restarts because you get the first one, you get the stage break 1, stage break 2. So you're getting at least three shots of getting run off to the wall and having a bad day. So Texas is by far the track you need to start out well at.
So let's go to the odds, courtesy of DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 and older and in New York to play. And as always, please play responsibly. To the head-to-head we go. We'll begin with our pick'em matchup. Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson, the friends/rival. I guess you could say frenemies now at this point. Minus 115. Who finishes better, Hamlin or Larson? I feel like at this point, give me Kyle Larson because he's won there in the past, like at the All-Star race in 2021. Obviously, that was with the previous generation. So give me Larson minus 115.
I'm going to say Denny Hamlin's hot streak continues.
You think it continues? Okay. Let's go with the top two seeds. William Byron, Martin Truex Jr. Big edge to William Byron minus 125 to Truex's minus 105.
Probably take Martin Truex.
You go Truex. All right. Byron ran up near the front at this race last year. Obviously, there was the controversy between him and Denny Hamlin. So give me Byron at minus 125. Final one we'll take a look at here. There's a couple interesting ones. Why don't we go pair of non-playoff drivers? Ty Gibbs and Kevin Harvick. Gibbs minus 120, Harvick minus 110. Harvick has run really well at Texas Motor Speedway, and if he wants to win here, I think this could be a place where he does it to try and get Bristol out of his mind. Harvick minus 110.
Oh, yeah, I think you have to. Like, Harvick hasn't run well. He had one poor race, and that just happened to be Bristol, and it cost him a shot at a championship. So give me Kevin Harvick.
So as we go to the big bet, Larson and Hamlin are the co-favorites, 4.5 to 1 each. Then you've got William Byron 7 to 1, Tyler Reddick, Martin Truex Jr. each 8 to 1, Christopher Bell 11 to 1, Ryan Blaney, Kyle Busch each 12 to 1, Brad Keselowski 14 to 1, Chris Buescher is 15 to 1. If there is a guy that is not amongst there, or if there's anyone up there you want to put the best bet on, who would you put it on?
It's Texas. Austin Dillon. Because he's done it before.
150 to 1 odds to win, 18 to 1 for a top 5 finish. For a top 10, he is 5 to 1. So for a top 10, possibly wouldn't be bad to go with that for your big bet. For mine, give me Ross Chastain because he ran near the front in last year's All-Star race before Kyle Busch caught that tire and Chastain flew over him. Chastain's odds 22 to 1 to try and win this race. He's 6 to 1 for a top 3, plus 275 for a top 5, and for a top 10, minus 110. I like the top 5/top 10 side on Ross Chastain, so I would put that down for one of your big bets or your best bets of the weekend. So, also had the Xfinity Series race. Again, all regulars, no Cup drivers in it with it being the playoffs. John Hunter Nemechek is your favorite at plus 240. Justin Allgaier is 4.5 to 1. Austin Hill 7 to 1. Cole Custer 7.5 to 1. Trevor Bayne 8.5 to 1. Same with Josh Berry. Sammy Smith, Sam Mayer each 12 to 1. Brandon Jones 18 to 1, and Sheldon Creed 25 to 1. He's won at Texas before. If I were to put my money down on someone, Trevor Bayne 8.5 to 1. It's his lone Xfinity Series win. Came with the prior configuration of Texas Motor Speedway in 2011. Why not? You could repeat twice, so give me Trevor Bayne.
It's a solid pick. I like it. But I just don't think it's going to be Trevor Bayne. I think we're going to see one of the playoff drivers get it done. I want to say Parker Kligerman, but I'm not going to jinx the guy 2 weeks in a row. So I'm going to go with the playoff driver. I'm going to go with John Hunter Nemechek. This is just a track where it seems like he goes out and dominates when he's there. So I think it's John Hunter Nemechek's race to lose, and I know he's the favorite, but I think it's his to lose at this point.
Alrighty, let's go to picks, and I should be updating these points, especially after the past few weeks that I've had.
Yeah, you lucky dog.
Although my pick did not win last weekend. But
who'd you pick this past weekend?
I picked Keselowski last weekend.
That's what I thought. I thought you picked a Ford.
But I still need to update these points, though, because I've just been forgetting and have had a busy schedule. So,
especially when I only got 1 point for 1 week.
Yeah.
Because Truex Jr. ran 5 laps and was out of the race.
We'll still do me first for Cup, you first for Xfinity. Who wins Saturday's Andy's Frozen Custard 300.
John Hunter Nemechek locks himself into the next round.
Okay. Why not give me Justin Allgaier? So
That was my secondary pick.
that was your secondary pick? Okay. And finally, for the Auto Trader Echo Park Automotive 400, Sunday afternoon race, 3:30 p.m. the start time. My pick to win, I actually do not have the diecast on me now. I forgot to go grab it, so I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I had to prep the shows I'm producing tonight. But he's won at Texas before. He has shown some good finishes lately at Texas Motor Speedway. As I pull up driveraverages.com, since February 2020, he has the second best average finish at 5.3. That win he had in Texas was not a points race. He won that race last year in the All-Star race. Give me a shocker. Ryan Blaney moves to the round of 8.
That would be a shocker. That would be a big shock. But I like it. I like going bold, especially in playoff time, because that's what happens. But
let me add as well, second best driver rating too.
I'm gonna go one up on you.
Okay.
We will have a playoff driver in victory lane. He will lock his way into the round of 8. He drives the car with the number 8. Kyle Busch finds a way to get it done at Texas again, locks himself into the round of 8. It almost happened with the 88s. It's going to happen with 8 going to the round of 8.
That number 8 car did win at Texas last year with Reddick behind the wheel.
And they've run well at intermediates all year.
Yes,
so.
they have. That is true, they have. Haven't won those since Gateway this season. So, but should be a good one. Final thoughts as we enter the race weekend.
Hey, we're looking to see who's locking themselves into the round of 8. Will anybody be able to do it? Texas is one of those tracks where it's really hot. You could see slick. You could see anything. And you're going to see a lot, and it's going to leave a lot to the fans, and it's going to give a lot. So it's going to be a fun, interesting race to watch.
Yeah, Texas Motor Speedway is like the Wild West. You've got those 6 shooters on you. If a bullet fires, boom. You could be in for a wild ride, and you could have nowhere to go, whether it be a restart, a short run, a long run. It could get hairy, that's for sure. We'll just have to see what happens. And so yeah, those of you that are headed to Albany this weekend, safe travels. Whether you're going out to watch the races or crewing or driving, safe travels this weekend. If you're camping this weekend at Genesee Speedway for the Topless Nationals, I was there last year. Announcing with Rush, won't be there this weekend. Obviously, we don't have a touring race, but I know CRSA Sprints have a big race at Genesee Speedway, so hope all you have a good time there. I will be announcing this weekend at the Coffee Classic at Lime Rock Speedway, the 3100 to win wingless sprint show, and looking forward to it, that's for sure. So that'll do it for this edition of RSN Trackside. Next week, we recap Texas and preview Talladega. Shout out to Gary, as always, working behind the camera and the computer. To my right, he's Kelvin. I'm Marty. This has been RSN Trackside. So long, everyone.